Look out below. A pilot pulls off an incredible landing right on a very busy Orange County street this evening.
CBS 2 team is here. We begin with that stunning video.
The plane came down in Huntington Beach after the pilot had engine problems. CBS 2's Lori Perez is live with what astonished witnesses had to say out there. Lori?
Well, Susie and Jeff, people are going to be talking about this for a long time, and who can blame them? Check out the plane behind me. Police pushed it here to this cul-de-sac just down the block, but imagine it earlier today, bound for John Wayne Airport, instead coming down right in the middle of the street with cars and people and power lines all over the place that the pilot managed to avoid.
I don't know how she made that.
He took the words right out of everybody's mouth. It's hard to believe even when you watch the video. We've slowed it down so you can see as the Cessna Skyhawk bounces down Hamilton Avenue and then, coming in hot, has cars pulling over to avoid a car-to-plane collision. In real time, this is security video from a business right beside where the four-seater single-engine plane made an emergency landing. Manager Vivian Murphy was right inside.
Oh my gosh, there's a plane on the street. No way.
The plane came down at 4:55 Friday. Police say the pilot told them she had some sort of engine trouble. Amazingly, even though she put it down on a busy Huntington Beach street at rush hour, she didn't hit anything or anyone. And witnesses say she seemed unfazed as she waited for help to arrive.
She was just like this. Just calm, not doing anything, engine still on.
The plane is registered to JG Capital Holdings out of Los Angeles. As the FAA investigates what happened, they have not released the pilot's name. Meanwhile, neighbors are calling her one of the luckiest people alive. Neither she nor the plane got even a scratch, but she and they have one heck of a story to tell.
To me, it's an absolute miracle. She had to really keep her head on straight to keep that plane from hitting not only cars but homes, and there's a park there's a lot going on.
Just totally flabbergasted. Like you just don't know what's going on because it's so unreal.
The pilot was alone on the plane, and we have sources saying that she's actually a student at the Orange County Flight Center, which just adds to how lucky this landing was. Back to you.
A young pilot now with a lot more experience, that's for sure. Well, developing news out of Las Vegas at this hour where a couple was found dead inside a Circus hotel room. They were part of a tour group from Los Angeles and were reported missing when they didn't show up for a Grand Canyon trip.
Well, they were both found with several stab wounds. A witness reported hearing an argument overnight coming from the couple's room. Their names and the name of a tour group have not been released.
We're now seeing pictures of the fourth suspect wanted in a brutal murder in Azusa. CBS 2's Rachel Kim went to an emotional vigil tonight for the 20-year-old victim and spoke to his heartbroken family.
He was my world, my only son. He loved me a lot, and he made sure that I knew of it.
Desiree Andrade is remembering her son's big smile, personality, and heart. At a vigil for 20-year-old Julian Hamori Andrade Friday night, family and friends find comfort in one another as they hope that the fourth and last suspect in Julian's brutal murder will be caught soon.
We can find this animal. He needs to be found.
On Friday, LA County Sheriff's investigators released 2 photos of 21-year-old Matthew Luzon, who also goes by the name Matthew or Matt Martin. Investigators believe he and 3 other men who are already in custody kidnapped, robbed, and murdered Julian on Monday night. Julian's sister remembers seeing Luzon and one of the other suspects on Monday when they came to pick her brother up.
He was about to walk into my house before I came up, and I wanted to meet them, but they said, "I'm here for Julian," and then that's when I just saw my brother with his big smile that he always has when he's excited to see his friends, and he's like, "What's up, bro?" And he was just so happy.
Julian ended up at this Azusa home where Luzon was living. There, investigators believe the 20-year-old was viciously attacked by Luzon and the 3 other suspects. The beating left the house covered in blood. Detectives say the suspects drove Julian to Azusa Canyon, where they beat him again before throwing him over the side of Highway 39 and leaving him to die.
This is my reality now. My reality is that I'm never going to hear his voice again. My reality is that I'm never going to feel his bear hugs.
This mother wants Luzon to be brought to justice. Investigators say he's aware that he's a wanted man. He's considered armed and dangerous.
Turn yourself in, please. You know who he is. Turn him in. turn him in. I need my closure.
If you see Luzon or have any information on his whereabouts, you're asked to call the LA County Sheriff's Department's Homicide Bureau. Reporting in Glendora, Rachel Kim, CBS 2 News.
Well, this is the moment right before a suspect went down in a deadly officer-involved shooting in Torrance today. Witnesses say he was carrying a snake and waving a knife while screaming. Officers first fired non-lethal rounds at him, but he wouldn't stay down. Then he rushed toward them.
They used a pellet gun on him, and he ended up trying to fight it off and try to get up and charge at the cops.
Bam, 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 bam. They've opened fire on him, and he just went down.
Police say they recovered 2 knives at the scene. They've not released that man's name.
DNA evidence, souvenirs from victims, and fascinating facts from newly released court documents.
And tonight, new details are emerging about the alleged Golden State Killer. CBS 2's Tom Wade is here tonight with what's inside those unsealed warrants. Tom?
Yeah, Susie and Jeff, some really interesting stuff here, like a CSI episode. What these new details reveal is how ordinary the life of this accused serial killer and rapist was, living in a normal home and doing errands, all while detectives say he was hiding a horrific past. The accused Golden State Killer Joseph DeAngelo glared from a courtroom cage as the judge in his case released some key documents, including parts of the search and arrest warrants. The documents revealed how investigators collected DNA samples from DeAngelo. DeAngelo's vehicle was parked in a public location at the parking lot of a Hobby Lobby store in Roseville. A swab was collected from the door handle while DeAngelo was inside the store. The sample was a mixture of different DNA, but there was a strong partial match. Still, investigators needed more, so they went back to DeAngelo's home. Additional surreptitious samples were recovered out of DeAngelo's trash can. The trash can was put out in the street in front of his house the night before. A tissue from the trash recovered by detectives provided the sample they needed. According to the documents, there was a match between what they recovered and the DNA found at dozens of murder and rape scenes carried out by the Golden State Killer.
I love the fact that he didn't know about it.
Margaret Wardlow reacting to news about how the DNA was collected. Wardlow was just 13 when the Golden State Killer broke into her then Sacramento area home and raped her.
He didn't think he'd be caught. And I always said, like, if they catch him, if he's alive, I wouldn't be surprised if he's just hiding out in Sacramento, just like under everyone's nose.
DeAngelo is charged in 12 murders in counties across the state, including in Orange and Ventura counties. Investigators also believe he may be responsible for a 13th murder. That's along with dozens of rapes and other crimes. Back to you guys.
Tom Waite reporting live in our studio tonight. A U.S.-North Korea summit is back on, even after heated rhetoric and an abrupt cancellation. President Trump announced the development after an Oval Office meeting with a North Korean envoy today, and that envoy presented a letter from dictator Kim Jong-un. The summit will take place on the originally scheduled date at the first planned location.
The Getting to Know You meeting plus. We'll see where it leads, but we're going to be June 12th. We'll be in Singapore. It'll be a beginning, I don't say, and I've never said it happens in one meeting. You're talking about years of hostility.
Well, the president is making it clear he is not expecting to sign any agreement yet in Singapore that will guarantee North Korea gives up its nuclear arsenal.
Well, you saw it unfold live right here at 11 last night. People can't stop talking about that wild police chase in the San Fernando Valley. It was full of pit maneuvers, spike strips, and even vigilante bystanders. CBS 2's Jeff Nguyen is live in Encino, where that pursuit came to a dramatic end. Jeff?
Susie and Jeff, the pursuit went round and round on Ventura Boulevard. It ultimately ended here with no injuries, despite some people getting dangerously close to a moving car.
There's too many vehicles on Ventura Boulevard that are interfering with the pursuit.
The police pursuit through LA's West Valley ignited vigilante behavior.
Talk about vigilante stuff right there.
Which led to some people being cuffed for interfering.
Last night's chase was definitely in the top 10 we've had.
It also got chase enthusiast Alex Quinn off his couch in Sherman Oaks to rush over to Encino
and showcase it and share it out with the world over Facebook and Instagram.
Our cameras in the air and on the ground captured these men getting out of a BMW and inserting themselves into the slow-speed chase. One tried to remove the driver while the other landed several kicks to the car.
I don't condone it. I don't think it's right to interfere.
Live coverage of the chase was tough to watch for Iris Johnson. You see, the Nissan Sentra was stolen at this grocery store from her daughter.
I couldn't believe how the police didn't just box him in and stop him.
Truth is, the LAPD tried over and over. We counted at least 13 pit maneuvers, a series of spike strips, but the Nissan kept going even with the bumper dragging. Eventually, all 4 tires were gone, and 40-year-old Jose Figueroa was arrested in front of plenty of people with their cameras rolling, like Alex Quinn, who says he was on the sidewalk to make sure he didn't interfere with the officer's work.
It's thrilling, and I think a lot of people just get a kick out of the live action reality.
And one person was cited for interfering. The LAPD says you should never try to step in during a police pursuit. Susie and Jeff, we'll send it back to you.
More shocking revelations tonight about an actress's alleged role in a sex cult.
That's ahead. Plus, here is a reminder to look out before you swim. The 12-foot great white shark sighting along the California coast.
The Temecula Valley Balloon and Wine Festival getting underway. We'll take you inside for a sneak peek.
And it should be nice weather for that. About 12 minutes after 11 coming up. We'll talk about the weather. It's going to get hot around here.
Let's take a look at the guest tonight on The Late Show, Stephen Colbert.
Already following CBS LA on Facebook? Follow these steps to make sure you continue to see our stories on your news feed. First, click on the triangle pointer in the top right corner of your Facebook page. Select News Feed Preferences. Then click Prioritize Who to See First and select CBS LA.